It's the Wrestling Caucus. I'm Peter A.
Smiley Ariaga.
And make sure you're subscribed anywhere you get podcasts and like the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Facebook.com/The Wrestling Caucus. Instagram @The Wrestling Caucus. Twitter @Wrestling Caucus. Today, we're going to talk about Dominion, New Japan Pro Wrestling. We're going to talk about AEW's Fight for the Fallen. And of course, the elephant in the room, the horror show at Extreme Rules, WWE show last night. We're recording this on a Monday. But first, Smiley, we have to talk about the other elephant in the room. It seems the internet wrestling community's favorite thing to talk about now, and that's ratings. So I'm going to...
Flavor of the month, I think.
Yeah.
That's what they will call it, right?
I think that, yes, a lot of wrestling fans now seem to take offense to ratings one way or another. You know, when somebody like a Brian Alvarez, like a Dave Meltzer, like a Wade Keller, like a Mike Johnson would tweet out, more so Brian Alvarez because he tweets out the ratings every week, there's always a series of unfortunate tweets, as I can say, because people take offense to when they talk about demographics. So 18 to 49. It's like, listen, if you're a wrestling talking head, you're a fan, you have a podcast, you have a blog, website, and you want to talk about TV ratings, you have to understand the TV industry. Look, I work in the media industry, okay? Advertisers want to target specific demographics, especially 18 to 49. Okay? Okay. So do not take offense to ratings or when people talk specifically about certain demographics that an AEW or an NXT, for example, or Raw or SmackDown.
Well, why did he even take offense to it, though?
Tribalism.
I don't understand. Like, why does it always have to be like a war? Like, it always have to be like, it's just ammo. It's like, it's just another thing to yell about.
It's so stupid. Listen, look, this is my opinion. I think every wrestling fan should be happy that any non-Vince McMahon operator wrestling show is successful. Okay? If you know anything about wrestling, you know that 2001 was the worst year for wrestling. You know why? Because at the end of that year, or halfway through that year, there was one company in America where people can make money, and that was WWE. Okay? If you don't want that to happen anymore, be proud that an AEW is successful in their ratings and that TNT gave them another deal for 3 years for millions of dollars. Okay? You have to be happy about that. All right? You can't just say, well, when NXT did so-and-so, no one ever talked about demos. Oh, now people want to talk about them. Shut the fuck up, okay? Shut the fuck up. All right? I enjoy WWE. Smiley enjoys WWE sometimes. We all enjoy wrestling.
It's been waiting.
Okay?
It's been waiting.
But here's what I like more than WWE. I like professional wrestling. You know what? I didn't watch Slammiversary last night. But I hope they did a good buy rate. They're still on pay-per-view. Yeah, that's another one.
Congrats to Eddie Edwards.
Yeah. Pay-per-view is still... They don't let WWE convince you that pay-per-view is dead. Pay-per-view is not dead, everybody, okay? AEW did very well on pay-per-view. And UFC is doing extraordinary well
Who bought
on
Extreme
pay-per-view.
Rules on pay-per-view?
Nobody. So, all I'm saying is that, going back to ratings, if you want to talk about ratings on your wrestling podcast, do so, but make sure you know what the fuck you're talking about, okay? And listen, as a fan, as a pro wrestling fan, I don't give two fucks about ratings.
Yeah, like, why is this, like...
Just watch the show.
Yeah, like, why is this a problem now?
I don't, because we're in a quote-unquote wrestling war.
God.
Right? It's like, listen, the vast majority of people watching wrestling on TV don't give two fucks about ratings. They care about the show. They care about the storylines. They care about the characters. They care about the wrestling. That's all they care about. That's why I didn't like when Tony Khan and Jericho went on Twitter to talk about their ratings and their demographics and whatever. It's like, look,
I do want a demo guy t-shirt. Though.
Sure, but listen, if you're backstage and you know, off Twitter or off camera and you're talking about ratings and demographics or whatever, great. You run a TV show. That's very important. But on screen, the vast majority of people don't give two fucks about ratings and demographics. They want to see a good show. That's all they care about. The same reason why you don't talk about politics on your show, because people watching your wrestling show don't care. They don't care about demographics. They want to see a show.
Remember when they did that Rosie O'Donnell angle?
What was it? Yeah, and they did a Hillary Clinton thing, and it was stupid.
Obama? Like, you remember how horrible that was, and I no one wanted to ever think about it ever again?
Nobody cares. I just watched WCW World War III from '95. Hogan burned a copy of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Guess what? The vast majority of people watching that show probably don't know what the Wrestling Observer is and don't care. Okay? A specific group of people. I enjoy the newsletter. I'm a subscriber. But the vast majority of people watching the show, they don't care about stuff like that. They just want to watch the show. And for wrestling fans, you should want wrestling to do well on TV, okay? Especially non-Vince McMahon run wrestling shows. You want them to do well for the betterment of professional wrestling, okay? Stop getting offended by ratings and demographics.
You know, I'm just happy about the fact that, like, it's been a while since I've heard such positive reception for its for an Impact pay-per-view. Like, you know, and it's just been a long time, you know, but so I'm just happy about that. Like, I don't really care about, like, I mean, like, some people are into statistics. It's important, but, like, I don't know why it has to be, like, an argument, like a fucking bitter argument all the time.
Yeah, like, if fans want to talk about ratings, that's okay. But
you can talk about anything you want.
Just be informed.
Yeah.
Just know what you're talking about. Like, when people bring up ratings and demographics, that's important in the industry. If you know anything about it, it's very important. But, you know, as a fan, I don't care. And don't get offended. My point is, don't get offended. Don't be like, but why don't you talk about that with NXT? Why don't you talk about that about AEW? But AEW, but WWE, but who gives a fuck? Enjoy wrestling.
I enjoy listening to, like, Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer because I learn a lot about how, like, this stuff works. You know, I don't like why you gotta use it as ammo for, like, you know, like just to yell at somebody online.
Yeah, who cares?
Through your phone.
Who cares?
I don't know, man.
Anyway, so let's talk about Dominion.
Oh, yeah.
So,
it's good to see fans there.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Good to see fans.
They had a third capacity fans, and I think that's very interesting because here in America, we're in no position to have fans indoors, even with masks. I'm still skeptical of, and I think it's interesting that GCW is doing their homecoming 2-night show on the 25th and 26th, 5 p.m. Eastern, Fight TV. That's not an advertisement. I just want to let you know that there's another wrestling promotion that's running a show. It's outdoors with fans, you know, to a certain extent. It's not going to be like, because in New Japan Dominion, they had like 4,000 people inside, but Japan is at a different stage of handling COVID than we are right now. So, but overall, I mean, I guess we could talk about the IWGP title match, Naito and Evil. What'd you think?
Awesome. Like, like Naito is like one of my, like, favorite, like, he has like the best presence in wrestling to me. Like he's like top tier when it comes to that now. And Evil is I just like the gimmick. Like I was like captivated like when I first saw him. Like Evil, like, he's amazing.
What'd you think of the match?
It was pretty good. It was pretty
I mean, more specifically, what did you think of Evil winning?
Him being the double champion.
Yeah.
Like it's a cool thing. Like, but like you kind of see a lot of double champions now. You know. Yeah,
it is kind of a trope running through pro wrestling right now. I'm not a fan of it, but
I mean, it was cool when Naito won. Cause
not Evil winning. I don't really necessarily have a problem with that, but just the idea of so many double champions in wrestling.
No, exactly. Like, you know, it's a great thing for Evil. Like, you know, I've been watching him for a minute, but like, Naito winning both titles at Wrestle Kingdom made sense because, like, you know, him losing to Okada like before, like a year or two prior, was like, you know, devastating. So that was a great comeback story for him. But like, you know, like when are you gonna split the titles? Are you gonna unify them? Like, what's the deal? You know, like how long is he gonna have both titles for?
My problem with this match was not necessarily Evil winning. I don't really have a problem with that necessarily, because like they're dealing with the hand that what they got, because they have no foreign talent. You know, they can't bring in their Will Ospreay or their Jay Whites, because I think Jay White was probably groomed for that. If you're going to, you know, to beat Naito in his first title defense, I think that was going to be groomed for somebody like a Jay White or a Will Ospreay. I'm not saying that was going to happen, but yeah, they don't have any access to. I mean, Zack Sabre Jr. was there, but you know, it was fine. You know, they told a story, but I think as far as like IWGP title matches are concerned, I don't think this was on the caliber of most of those. And I thought they told a pretty solid story. You know, I think Naito's knees are hurt, and you know he tried to go for the Destino and he couldn't do it, and Naito was working his knee the whole time, and his leg, and it was kind of interesting.
Those drop kicks are lethal. You can't do that with bad knees.
Yeah, exactly. And I just thought there was too many fucking run-ins for an IWGP title match. It was too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel anything from that. Honestly,
I didn't feel anything from the entire match. I'm watching it. It wasn't like a terrible match.
It was a good match, but you know
it was fine. But it was just
you know what was amazing? That freaking tag match.
That was really good.
Zack Sabre Jr. is like lethal.
Yeah, it was Zack Sabre Jr.
God,
teaming up with Taichi.
Like he was like doing like.
And Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi. It was really good.
If you were to play a drinking game with how many like different ways Zack Sabre Jr. can switch into holds in one match, you would die. Like
tag team title match, and there was no bullshit, nobody running in, and none of that. It was just wrestling.
Tanahashi has the greatest dragon screw leg whip ever.
He has one of the best babyface comebacks.
Oh my! Ever. He sells freaking everything.
So good. Yeah, that was a great match. If you're gonna watch anything from Dominion, watch that match.
Like Sabre like worked over his knees, and like he like kept giving him all those like disgusting like leg whips at the end, like just destroying him. And like they did the same thing to Kota Ibushi, and it was a devastating loss, but it was a great match.
Yeah, I think here in America, as far as like COVID is concerned, if you want to get to this stage where we're gonna have people and fans, because I'm seeing plenty of articles saying we're not gonna have any live events till 2022. Elsewhere around the world, they're slowly starting to do this. Look at Japan, 4,000 people. 2 nights, New Japan Cup, Dominion, and they have other shows lined up as well for the rest of this month. So, if we want to get to that stage here in America, put on your damn masks, test if you're exhibiting symptoms, and keep the fuck away from people. For real.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about Extreme Rules. WWE. Whew. Man, I don't even know where to begin.
What was the show?
Well, hey, listen.
It felt like 30 years.
Listen, that was the one thing that I did enjoy about the show. It was under 3 hours.
Really?
Yeah, it was only 2.5 hours. I was able to watch. I was afraid that I wasn't be able to watch United States of America with W. Kamau Bell, which was way better than Extreme Rules. But I guess
the wrestling was good. Like Cesaro and Nakamura and New Day was great. Like, it was a good tables match.
Yeah, I came back from my run when that was happening.
Yeah.
It was good? All right.
That was good. It was a good tables match.
But here's the thing about that. You just said, okay, the wrestling was good. And that's great. WWE has some of the best wrestlers in the world at their disposal. Their talent level is through the roof right now. But here's the thing. Okay, why did you start watching wrestling? Tell me. What made you want to watch wrestling?
Like moments like remember like some of the earliest moments are like Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle's feud. When Kurt Angle like when he was on SmackDown, like he attacked Shawn Michaels during the Royal Rumble. Like it's like something like just the passion between those two. Like at that point, like those two were at the prime of their career.
Angle, right?
The story.
Yes. Okay. Now what about Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle? Like why? Like why them? Like what? Hey. Like what about them made you want to pay attention to what they had going on TV?
At that point, I wasn't aware of all the other talent on the roster, but just looking at those two from their first impression, you can tell these are the best two in the company. going at it. Because like it's like a Goku and Vegeta kind of thing. It's like the two best, and they just want to prove they're the best. But like the passion of it wasn't like generic. Like the passion of it was so like unreal.
Yeah, they told a simple story. Shawn Michaels was proclaimed Mr. WrestleMania. Kurt Angle says, "I'm better than you," and they wrestled. And they
beat
had
the crap out of him until Shawn Michaels agreed to wrestle him.
Yeah, they did a lot of interesting things. God. They had Kurt Angle dancing with.
Kurt Angle scared me as a kid, but he was awesome.
Kurt Angle mocking Shawn Michaels' theme with his old manager Sherry, and it was very interesting. So my point is, pro wrestling is more than just the wrestling in the ring. Okay, the reason, stop fooling yourselves, people. Stop playing. You watch wrestling because of the characters and the larger-than-life personalities. My first thing that I've seen in wrestling that was like, whoa, like The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin cracking a beer, spraying beer on
like
Vince.
Kane making the arena explode every time he walked in.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff, like stories.
Eddie Guerrero just being amazing.
Yeah, he was very... I remember that I saw Eddie Guerrero destroy JBL's limo and everything. Character. When I saw Rey Mysterio, who's that cool guy in a mask doing cool moves? John
Cena.
He's
tiny, but like he can kick the crap out of everybody.
Yeah, like John Cena was a white boy that rapped. At first, I'm like, this is bullshit.
At first, I was like, what? Oh.
And then I saw him. I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. Characters, personality, stories, logic. I watched Extreme Rules. I saw none of that. I saw very few of that, I should say. Sasha Banks and Asuka. Great wrestling match. Oh my god, I'm like, this might be the best thing on the show. But then the bullshit happened. You had you had Asuka spray the mist, right? Sasha ducked, hits the ref. At that moment, I would have been okay with a DQ finish, even though I'm not really okay on DQ finishes, but I would have been okay with that. For you know what I mean? And Sasha Banks as a heel can say, I won the match, I deserve another title shot. Great. I would have been okay with that. But no. Bayley runs in, takes off the ref shirt, puts it on. No other ref runs down. It's like... why are we still doing this? Yeah, like, why are we still... We've seen this kind of shit being done before. And
it's like Jerry getting his butt kicked by Tom, and then the little mouse comes in and then, like, dresses as a cat and then beats up Tom or something.
Why? It's
this cartoon.
It makes your title look like dog shit.
Like, and I was loving the psychology. Like, it's been a while since I watched, like, a match with Sasha Banks and, like, having this... where I love the psychology this much. Like, she was just, like, destroying Asuka's arm so she can't do the Asuka lock. I'm thinking, oh man, this is probably gonna affect how Asuka's gonna do the lock in them, and like it was kind of building to that. But then like, okay, Asuka got the miss, so she's probably gonna spray Sasha and then choke her, so Sasha can't like fight back. But she sprayed the referee, and then I'm thinking, okay, the referee's probably just gonna like end the match. Okay, fine, but that didn't happen. Like Bayley hit Asuka in the back of the head. And it looked really stupid and kind of silly.
It's like, dude, you have the best wrestlers in the world at your disposal.
The referee.
Like, WWE has great wrestlers.
And no one did anything about it. Like, okay, so whenever there's a cool brawl happening, a cool fight happening, right? Oh, you see mad security guards instantaneously breaking up the women, right?
Yeah.
No one came to stop Bayley from doing what she did. A referee eyes were burning. And she took the man's shirt off. No one came to stop her.
No other refs.
What the hell were you? Where the hell were the people? Where the hell were the security guards then? Huh?
Maybe Adam Pearce's COVID test didn't come through.
No doctor came in. Like every time someone like bleeds like a little bit, like a doctor comes in with gloves. No one came to stop. No one came to check on the guy's eyes. Like pretty much like. It just was silly as hell, and
it's just
no
like,
one cared.
It's just dumb. Creative.
I didn't care. I don't know.
Good wrestling.
I can't speak for everybody.
Creative. I don't want to. I hate hearing, but good wrestling. Fuck good wrestling, bro. There's so many wrestling promotions out here. There's so much good wrestling out there for you to watch. Okay, good wrestling is not enough.
Well, like specifically, like just the physicality of like moves and stuff. Like because like good wrestling is beautiful. Like good wrestling isn't just about like all the moves. It's about like how they work together.
It's storytelling.
Like,
okay?
but it's
logic.
Just, like, it ain't like a fighting game. Like, you can't just judge it on, like, moves.
And how much combos you hit.
Like, it's like, I saw a lot of cool moves happen. Like, like, the way, like, even though I didn't care about the Drew McIntyre and Ziggler stipulation, they didn't really care, but, like, I love the finish, because, like, Drew kicked the absolute crap out of Dolph, and Dolph sold it gorgeously. I'm like, that was like the only part of the match I truly enjoyed. And like Dolph did that cool elbow drop, like, but a lot of cool moves happened, but like I didn't really care about the story of it.
I thought the end was great because he it kind of protected McIntyre's finish.
Yeah.
It made the Claymore kick seem deadly. It was great.
Yeah.
Great stuff. And that was the only wrestling match aside from the opening one where it's like, okay, this is a pro wrestling match by the numbers. And I mean that in the best way. Like, heel has a stipulation that gets in the way of it's another barrier, obstacle for the babyface to overcome. And the babyface, he sees a table and he knows that he can't do it and he's conflicted. He's like, should I just put him through the table? No, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's rules. JR always says, yeah.
That's the thing that bugged me, like, how they specified, you can't use the table. Like, yeah, but like, haven't in the past when like people put people through tables, it didn't count as a disqualification?
Sometimes.
Like...
It's a case-by-case basis.
I don't know, it's just like...
But regardless of that, the babyface had a challenge. Only one of them... the heel can use weapons, the babyface couldn't. So he had to overcome that somehow. And he did.
He couldn't have just, I don't know, asked for backup or something. He couldn't just...
No.
They had to
that's
do a half stipulation. Like, where I don't know, like, this is kind of goofy.
I mean, it's obvious that the match would have been better if they just went out there and wrestled.
Or like, did it just an DQ match, or, I don't know, like...
Yeah, like,
take for... anything but that.
Like, the eye for an eye match, right? The stupidest stipulation match I remember seeing in my lifetime. So, the wrestling was good, but who gives a fuck? The match was promoted and booked as a specific, like, an eye for an eye match, not a regular wrestling match. If it was just about Rey Mysterio or Seth Rollins saying he's better than Rey and Rey saying I'm better than you, and they just had a wrestling man match and the better man won, great. But in the match, that's not the story they told. They did a bunch of moves, then they tried to take the eye out, then they did moves, and then they tried to take the eye out. And at the end, Seth takes the eye out. I guess he took the eye out, and then he vomited. And it's like, they're so lucky that there's no live gate right now, because who's gonna pay for this?
It was like a hokey parody of what happened to Danielson, in that one match.
Not just Vader, it happened to Vader too, but it's like that happened.
Hokey parody of that.
That happened in the confines of a regular wrestling match that got out of hand. There was no stipulation where you had to take the eye out. Look, okay.
I'm not an expert on taking people's eye out, but I don't think wrestling moves are an effective way of taking someone's eye out. I don't know. I don't know.
Listen. Okay. I think that stipulation match made wrestling look super fake because, okay, the whole point of wrestling is simulated fighting, right? Just like boxing, except there's storylines and characters and whatever. So, when we watch the match, we're supposed to believe or suspend our disbelief that these people are actually hitting each other and hurting each other. If you played any wrestling match to somebody that doesn't watch wrestling, that says, I want to watch a wrestling match, what should I watch? When they're watching the match, they're probably going to say, holy shit, that looks like it probably hurt for real. But if you see somebody trying to take the eye out of someone, and you're watching, like, in the confines of wrestling, it's like, it's totally stupid. Because in what kind of fight situation is somebody legitimately trying to take somebody's eye out? In any kind of fight situation, like, especially a sanctioned professional fight, like, that wouldn't be allowed to happen. In a regular...
It would be a disqualification.
In an underground, like, a Fight Club situation, sure. But not in, like, a professional wrestling... You know what I'm saying?
It
makes it look
UFC
bullshit.
Days, like, was that allowed in the early...
No one tried to take somebody's eye out.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Knocked them out, choked them out.
And they fought dirty and stuff, but, like,
there was no stipulation. Like, you're not going to be awarded a championship belt and prize money from taking somebody's eye out. No, like, it's so...
I mean, because, like, on one hand, we kind of talked like this, like we kind of talked about this, like, before, like, you can kind of argue that, like, you know, what Austin did to Hunter, like, when he was in that car and he threw him off a freaking a giant lift or something.
Yeah.
Like, you can argue that, oh, like, you know, that was, like, you know, you wouldn't do that in real life, but, like, that was, like, a surprise thing that happened after the match. It wasn't, like, a stipulation.
It was a match that got out of hand.
Yes, exactly.
It was a sanctioned match that went off the rails. And think about the story. There's that word again, story. Why did that match happen? Triple H tried to kill Austin by having him run over in a hit and run accident. When Austin came back, Austin was adamant in finding who did this to him. When he found out who did it, Triple H, he beat the living shit out of him. And guess what he did? He tried to kill him. It's storytelling, people. It's like this stipulation did nothing for anybody, to me. It did nothing. It just did nothing.
Like, but you know what's funny? Like, that spot in, like, the Sasha Banks and Asuka match when Sasha was, like, breaking Asuka's fingers. I felt more bad for Asuka and her fingers than I did for Rey and his eye.
Because
why was that? Why was that?
Okay, if you're trying to do something to somebody's fingers, you're trying to get them to submit, right? That's wrestling. That's professional wrestling.
It's like it's simple. You don't need to. Like, I understand they tried to make it like, so, you know, a horrific ordeal, but like, you gotta take his eye out. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Listen,
it was goofy. It was just like cartoonish. Like Seth was like, it was like Trevor Phillips from GTA. He had like the pliers. Like he was getting ready for Ray when Ray was about to come to the ring. It was just so goofy.
Yeah, we didn't need that. We didn't need it. And look, Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio are very, very good workers. But who cares? Who cares? If you have bad creative, does Impact...
I feel bad for them.
At its, you know, in like 2006, 2007, they had some of the best wrestlers in the world. Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, Sting, Christopher Daniels, Roderick Strong, Frankie Kazarian. Some of the best wrestlers in the world. But they had some of the worst creative people. Some of the worst. WWE is... like, wrestling is all about creative characters. Creative and good work rate. That's like the foundation, but that's not what sells tickets. Okay? We need characters, we need charisma, we need logic, we need storytelling. Not something that's so fucking ridiculous that's only made to embarrass somebody. If Rey Mysterio signed a deal, there would not be no eye for an eye. It would just be a regular match. And it probably would have been great. But no, we have to have stupidity.
Like what they're doing with Jeff Hardy. That literally is like demoralizing me from watching SmackDown because I love Jeff Hardy so much. And Jeff Hardy, you know, because like before Jeff Hardy made his, you know, debut, he was talking about how like he wants Brock, you know, he wants like Brock Lesnar to retire him. And I'm thinking like, wow, that'd be cool to see. But like, instead now he's just they're making him look like a jerk. Like, why? Like, you know, to all the people, I was very happy. I think I talked enough about this. Like, I was happy when Jeff Hardy came back. Like, why do I have to relive this stupid I have to watch him go through this in some dumb storyline?
Jeff Hardy is one of the most popular people in wrestling. He's influenced so many people. Private Party, very inspired by Jeff Hardy and the Hardy Boys, okay? Jeff Hardy made a lot of mistakes, okay? But here's the thing. We don't have to, that should not be who Jeff Hardy is.
They shouldn't have to shove it in our faces.
Jeff Hardy's whole life is not drug addict drunk, okay? Let's change the narrative of who Jeff Hardy is. This is the perfect time.
He happens to have people who love him.
I like the vignettes that they had building up to Jeff Hardy's return. And the whole thing was he's a new man. Let's tell that story. Please.
Hell, I didn't even mind how Sheamus he looked like he was jealous of him. I didn't mind it.
That's fine.
But now it's like, oh, Jeff, you're a chunky. oh, you're an alcoholic.
And they had to restage a DUI accident. But anyway.
You might as well have, like, them sitting around the back in the locker room having an AA meeting, like, hi, Jeff, like...
Bullshit. But anyway, don't watch Extreme Rules. Don't.
God.
But, alright, now let's talk about something good. AEW Fight for the Fallen. This was an excellent show. And this was the show, look, that had championship matches that had integrity. You know, I didn't totally love New Japan's IWGP title match because I think it wasn't up to par from what the IWGP title match really is all about. WWE has too many titles that they don't know what to do with, and they're diminished. But here, on this specific show, on Dynamite, I saw great title matches. And I think that Moxley and Brian Cage had one of the most interesting ones I've seen in recent months because they told a great story. Okay, Moxley was out for a while because of everything going on. And Brian Cage, he brought up the fact that Brian Cage, bicep is, you know, he rehabbed his bicep. He had a bicep injury. So what happened in the match? They played into that. He was working his arm. In the finish, he does a submission on his arm, an armbar or something like that. I'm not sure what this specific submission was. And Taz doing the towel because he knows that Brian's injury is a problem.
And an injury can keep him from making money, which Taz and them want to do, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't mad about that. I don't know
why
thought
it was great.
But, you know, it's one of those things where you kind of know, oh, people are going to make a big deal out of this and, you know, for a week and then forget about
Storytelling, logic. That's all I need.
Yeah.
That's all I asked for.
Like, and I appreciated how they referred to what's going on in Moxley's life without making him look like a jerk. You know how, like, Moxley obviously made it clear he was going through stuff, but he's gonna use that pain to beat up Brian. He's gonna take it out on Brian.
Yeah.
But they referred to, like, oh, Moxley's had a lot to deal with, but he's like, you know, they made him sound like the good champion that he is.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I loved it. Like, I love this match.
It was great. And Sonny Kiss and Cody was excellent too because, you know,
what, I'm sorry, but wait.
Go ahead.
You remember with Brian Cage with the corner thing, right?
What?
There was a spot where, like, Dean, like, sent him into the corner and, like, he kind of, like, Brian, he didn't really touch it. He kind of just, like, hovered it on it. It was obviously, I think, like a misstep. This looks funny if you watch it back.
Okay.
But it didn't, like, deter from how good the match was.
Well, Cody Sonny Kiss told a great story, and the whole thing was like, you know, Cody should be able to beat Sonny Kiss with no problem. But Cody on paper. Because Cody's Cody Rhodes and Sonny Kiss is a new upcomer, right? So he's not, like, Sonny Kiss is not a star yet. Cody is, like, you know, he has a name, but he's not, like, a big star yet. But in the context of this match, Cody's a bigger star than Sonny Kiss. Right, exactly. But he underestimated him. And he was, you know, doing push-ups. He's kind of being a jerk. And then
Sonny was so mad at him.
Yeah, Sonny Kiss kind of got the better of him for a little while. And then Cody got desperate. Took the turnbuckles off. And then he eventually won.
Crap out of Sonny Kiss. But, like, you know, I kind of figured, like, because I remember Arn, like, I think it was, like I think a Road to This Dynamite. Arn was talking about, if you're going to go after Sonny Kiss, like, from this jump, you got to, like, be on him. You know, and I figured they were going to go into that, but they even told an even more interesting story. Like, Cody being cocky. And, like, he's kind of like a heel, but a babyface.
I mean, in this match, you know, Sonny Kiss, if this was fun of a live crowd, Sonny Kiss would have gotten the big babyface reaction. I think. Or depending what city they're in, but, you know, the story they were...
Sonny Kiss.
Of course. I'm just saying, like, depending what city that he's in, you know, he might get a better... If he's in... Where's he from originally? I'm not sure what city he's from. But let's say if they were in his hometown, he would get a big reaction. But if they were in Cody's hometown or in Atlanta, Cody might have gotten a better reaction. But it just depends what city he was in. But anyway, in the story that they told in the ring, I think as the match went on, Cody would have gotten a more babyface reaction because they told a great story. You knew who... Like, what role each person was.
It was kind of rocky at some points. I don't know, some points Cody was kind of, like, he was kind of being a jerk. Like, he was really, like you said, that desperation was kind of, like, rubbing off the wrong way. And, like, you know,
That's my point.
Yeah, like you probably would have been. I don't know. You think you would have been like booed maybe like at some point, or people like oh
probably there'll be some hisses.
It reminded me
in this specific match.
It reminded me of when John Cena fought Sami Zayn on Raw, and like Sami like blew out his shoulder, but he was still gonna wrestle him, and then like obviously he was having some problems, and like John Cena was kind of taking advantage of that, and he was like kind of like gloating a bit. You know, and it told an interesting story. It kind of reminded me of that.
John Cena and CM Punk, the same thing.
Yeah.
They're in CM Punk's hometown, Money in the Bank 2011. CM Punk's hometown. CM Punk called out the company and the establishment, and Cena is the establishment. He represents the establishment because the establishment favors a John Cena, and CM Punk is the antithesis of that. Therefore, in this particular match, CM Punk is going to play the babyface role. In that match, not saying Cena's a heel and he's a bit. No, it's like
well, that's what made the match interesting. That dynamic,
that story. There's that word again. That story.
It wasn't. It was shades. A lot of shades of gray, like colliding into each other. It wasn't just like black and white.
Yeah, like again, this is why I like pro wrestling. Storytelling, logic. Why should I care? I don't give a fuck how many submissions you know. I don't care how many moves you can do. Can you tell a story? And does it make sense? And will I pay money to watch it? Will I pay money to go see it live? That's all pro wrestling is.
Well, the problem is with this pay-per-view, they were telling a lot of stories, but they were just freaking goofy. Like the whole swamp thing. Like I didn't know what I was watching. It was this Bray. I think he had Braun sitting down in the chair. He wasn't really tied to the chair, I don't think. I don't know. The chain looked mad loose on him.
And that's another thing I want to talk about. So, okay.
Bray was just yelling at him.
That match was everything I didn't like about the Bray Wyatt character. Just a bunch of goofy, rigmarole, hoopla about nothing that's supposed to sound spooky and demonic, but it sounds fucking stupid and has no context of pro wrestling. The Firefly Funhouse thing, it had pro wrestling context. You had John Cena dressed up in a certain part of the segment match, vignette, whatever you want to call it. He was Hollywood Hogan. And what is Hollywood Hogan or Hulk Hogan infamously known for in pro wrestling? Being a career politician. And Bray Wyatt's whole thing is, you held me down. Because Bray Wyatt, before he changed, every time he was in a big main event match, he never won the big one. So Bray Wyatt's argument is that John Cena was holding them down. Great. That logic. There's a story behind that. This swamp nonsense was nothing.
I thought the point of the Fiend was that he was an evolution of Bray Wyatt. He was an evolution of all the goofy crap that Bray Wyatt always did. Like, you know, and he turned into something interesting. He was like freaking a creeped version of Steve from Blue's Clues. You know, I love the Firefly Funhouse. Like, even in weeks where Raw was awful or SmackDown was awful, you can always rely on the Firefly Funhouse being interesting or, you know, entertaining to watch.
I think for the purpose of this specific match, it was to go down Braun Strowman's past. But for me, as a viewer, I couldn't care less. And this particular match segment thing didn't bring me over the line in any regard. I understand they're trying to, in their world, this is what like long-term storyline is. They want to stretch us out to SummerSlam, and then Fiend ultimately wins the championship. That's the right move.
Is the Fiend even still a thing after this?
But I thought, for me, this is not a story you stretch out. This is something you just get it over with, in my opinion. Like, I'm not even for Braun Strowman as a champion, but I'm saying if you're gonna put the title on Bray, I think they should have done it sooner. But if they're gonna do it at SummerSlam, if they're gonna do it at SummerSlam, just get it over with, because
I don't want to see that Fiend belt again, though.
The Fiend, I don't know if we're gonna see that.
Crap looked awful. But the Fiend's mask looks cool, but not on a freaking championship belt.
Yeah, but I don't know. I wasn't a fan of Extreme Rules. I think it was the best and worst of WWE. More so the worst. I think if you're gonna watch a championship match, watch Brian Cage, Jon Moxley, Sonny Kiss, Cody. Hell, even watch. Naito and Evil was much better, but I didn't love it. But it was much better than anything I saw last night. and watch the GCW show this weekend because
Sabre and Taichi versus Tanahashi and Ibushi was freaking incredible.
That was a great title match too.
That was amazing. It was so good. Yeah. Like I forgot that they were fighting for championships.
On that note, we're gonna wrap it up here. It's the Wrestling Caucus. I'm Peter A.
Smiley Arriaga.
Don't forget to follow the show on Facebook. Facebook.com/The Wrestling Caucus, Instagram @The Wrestling Caucus, and of course Twitter @Wrestling Caucus, and subscribe anywhere, any place that you get podcasts. All right, later days.
Be safe, everyone.